Good morning, everyone. I'm Sheila Wybrow. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees. Welcome to you, old friends, new, young, and seasoned. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are here. Whether you join us in person or online, we're glad you're here. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. As we do each week, we begin our gathering. I respectfully acknowledge that I speak to you today from occupied Puyallup and coastal Salish ancestral lands. I pay respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to their descendants and all Indigenous people. We're joining you again today in multi-platform mode. You will see some of us in the sanctuary and others zooming in online. For those meeting in person today, we invite you to join us for coffee time following the service. Red mugs are for visitors who would like to chat. For those in person, this facility is equipped with a hearing assistance system. Devices are available at the table in the back of the sanctuary. We continue to welcome our children back to their religious exploration program, and registrations forms are available on our website. As we resurrect the RE program, we will need volunteers to support it. Please see Chrissy Kim or email board@tahomauu.com to sign up to volunteer to help with children downstairs. We need extra people to make this work. The Social Justice Committee has rescheduled their meeting and it is on the calendar. And one other announcement, I have been editing the videos of past services, and they are now on our YouTube channel. So if you missed last week's service, it's there for you to view. The annual pledge drive is underway. We're building a bridge to the future. We're counting on your support to help us during this transition year as we move from a full-time minister to a part-time minister, as we reinstate our very important religious exploration programs, and as our new part-time administrator and bookkeeper come on board and return to us timely, transparent financial information. Pledge packets were mailed this week. Please let us know if you did not get one. We want to be sure we haven't lost track of your current contact information. Our pledge goal this year is $152,211. This is 37% more than the $110,998 that we pledged last year. So not a small goal. However, this is $67,077 less than we raised in the fiscal year July 21st to June 2023. So the board believes that we can do this. Additional pledge sheets are available out in the hallway next to the name tags for your convenience. As always, details for our upcoming services can be found on our website or in the e-news. Next week, our service will be Who Tells Your Story with Reverend Linda, which will include reflections on the story of TUUC, both recent and past. And now let us prepare for worship.
Good morning. Good morning online as well. It's a bit of a morning today. So folks know, I locked my keys in my office, and things have been a little more jumbly than we're typically accustomed to here. Our regular pianist, Marianne, is on a well-deserved day away. She'll also be gone next week. So we're going to have recorded music and a little bit of help from Sheila for a couple of pieces. And we're going to get through this together. Is that right? Yes, we will get through this together. We arrive here, bringing with us all the joys of our lives, the pleasures of good sleep, delicious solitude, the steady touch of a beloved nearby. We arrive here bringing with us stresses and tensions, fears for the future, heartache and heartbreak, a heaviness of heart that sometimes does not seem to end. All of this is welcome in this place. We come bearing the gift of ourselves, always a good gift, even if we don't believe that could be so. We come offering the love that we can, always a good gift, even if we sometimes believe it's not enough. All of that is welcome in this place. Worried or content, full of heart or empty, bearing all of that within. Welcome to this sanctuary, to this home, where we seek the best we can be, where we remember what we were made for, where we are called again and again to love fiercely and to live bravely, to embody compassion and empathy, no less for ourselves than for those around us. Welcome to this service today. It is good to be together. And once again, I have forgotten to invite someone to light the chalice. So Sheila, would you light it for us? Oh, Dave will light it for us. He is leapt into the fray. Off you go, my dear. Because, it's been that kind of morning. Has anybody else had that kind of morning so far? Oh, a few. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Join with me in the words for lighting our chalice. We light this chalice in deep respect for the mystery and holiness of life, in honor and gratitude for those who have gone before, with love and compassion for those who dwell among us, and faith for the generations to come. Our opening hymn is May Nothing Evil. If you want to pick up your gray hymnal, you can. The words are going to be on the screen, so you can do it however that works best for you. Let's join in singing together.
May nothing evil cross this door, and may ill fortune never pry about these windows. May the roar and rain go by. By faith made strong, the rafters will withstand the battering of the storm. This heart, though all the world grow chill, will keep you warm. Peace shall walk softly through these rooms, touching our lips with holy wine, till every casual corner blooms into a shrine. With laughter drown the raucous shout, and though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong to keep hate out and hold love in.
on yet. Am I on? Now am I on? Nope. Having a little trouble. See, this is what there we go. This is what I mean. It's been a morning. I would invite any of the children who are present who'd like to come up and join me for a story to come on up. Yay! How nice it is to see you guys this morning. And children who, oh, geez, thank you. Okay, it's just going to be like this, gang, you know? Some days, thank you. Some days are just so totally like this. Here we are. And that'll remind me to put it back up. Who was here last week? Who was here last week? Okay, what did we talk about last week? Oh, you weren't? Oh, you forgot and put up your hand. Yeah, okay. So what did we talk about last week? You were here last week. Do you remember what the book we read? Do you remember what it was about? No, okay, that's all right. Does anybody remember? Do you remember? Okay, I'm so glad to know this was so memorable. Do you remember? It was the invisible string. Did you just remember? Do you remember that? And what did the invisible string tell us?
That we're always connected.
That we're always connected to each other and to all the people around us. Sorry?
Guess what? Me and my brother and daddy are going to Emily's birthday party.
You and your daddy and your brother are going to a birthday party this afternoon? That's today. Awesome. That's really great. So before we get out away from this, let me start my story. Because I know that we're waiting to go downstairs. So the story is the circles all around us, and it's kind of connected to the invisible string. The invisible string said we're all connected to each other, and the circle is about kind of how we come into community together. So the circles are how we can spread our love around to each other. Yes. Yeah, isn't that a great thing?
Yeah.
I think that's a really awesome thing. I like the idea. I'm sorry?
It's big.
The earth is a big circle. Indeed it is.
Standing on a giant circle.
We,
Full of love.
yes, it does mean that the earth is full of love. Yay. Okay, y'all. Let's sing the children out. Sheila's going to lead us through the song.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life, we hold you in our love as you go.
Now is the time in our service in which we are getting the opportunity to show our caring and support for this amazing organization that nurtures us. We get a chance to help support and make sure that this organization, that this congregation is always here for those who need it. You can go to the website and donate or text. There will be baskets passed around in the congregation. Please give generously.
Join with me in the dedication of the offering. We dedicate ourselves and our offerings to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community, both within and beyond these walls. I invite you to take a few moments now with me for quiet and reflection together. See, I didn't even remember. but we should be on the chalice, please. Did I not include the meditation? I did include the meditation. You guys, you're still with me, right? Thank you, Michael. I'll see if I can get this to work. I may need your magic hands up here. Let's take a few moments for reflection. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Close your eyes if that's comfortable. These words from Carter Hayward, part of my own personal scripture. We are not automatic lovers of self, others, world, or God. Love does not just happen. We are not love machines, puppets on the strings of a deity called love. Love is a choice, not simply or necessarily a rational choice, but rather a willingness to be present to others without pretense or guile. In these moments of stillness together, let us open. Let us come into this time without pretense, without guile, fully here to all of what is present in us and around us. The work of love in the world is not sweet and pretty. It's not what's given to us, it is what we choose. To love the world, the grime and the loss of it, no less than its wonder and loveliness, apprehending it for all that it is. It is a choice to be fully present, no pretense, no guile. To love each other, never forgetting the priceless beauty in each face, in every heart, no exceptions. Never forgetting the brokenness, sometimes abiding at the core, the source of our deepest wounds, often the source of our greatest power. Learning again and again that we are joined to one another, more alike than we are different, choosing to be present to another, choosing to be fully present to another, no guile and no pretense. Remembering that justice is love made public, tangible. Our choice to speak truth into the world, our choice to affirm over and over again until all of us are free and safe and tended. Until that comes, all of us are diminished. This is the work of a lifetime. Let us take it up again today with joy and intention. Let us take it up again this day and every day. Let us pause for a few moments of stillness together. So may it be. Amen. So today is the day that I would probably, oh, I'm still not on camera, dang it. Michael, I need your magic touch. It doesn't love me this morning. Oh, there we are. Yep. Okay. Okay, this is the morning when I would typically come before you all and talk about the pledge drive that has started, as Sheila noted at the beginning of the service. And when the people who are working on the pledge drive this year and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, somebody said, you are going to talk about the sermon on the amount, right? And I said, well, if I have to, I have every year that I've been here so far. So it seems like it would be missing an opportunity to not just continue on with that. I kind of like having a few laughs to get us, kind of loosened up to hear about this congregation. I've told the story before when a colleague of mine was asking for a contribution during a ministers' conference, and he went through. We were doing this joint collection for our colleagues and beloveds who are in Transylvania, where there is a Unitarian church, and our partner church council and various other sorts of things. And Aaron went into this in great detail. And then he said, now what I want you to do is lean forward and take the wallet from the person in front of you and then give like you've always wanted to give. I think it does help us to be in that kind of a place of laughter and joy with one another as we begin to think about what it is we need to sustain and support this congregation. We're not going to talk to you today about money, about amounts, none of that. We're going to talk about what this congregation means to at least 3 of the members of the congregation today. And we're doing that in part because lifting up what it is we love helps us to understand what our giving is about and what our giving means. When I was a member of a church in Chicago, Second Unitarian, before we collected our offering, we would say, this church is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. When we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it. And I've carried that with me all these years because I think it's exactly right that however and whenever we contribute to our congregation, we are affirming ourselves as a part of it. We are affirming its importance and its worth in our lives. And that's what we've invited 3 people to do this morning. David Pettit, who has been here, as he describes it, I think an incredibly long time. I think that works for him. Stacy Kopcha, who is right at this very instant downstairs working in religious education, exploration, but she'll be up here in a few minutes to do her part. And she's also been around for a good while, and her children have been part of our religious explorations program. And then Doug Booth, who is a newer member of our congregation. Actually, I would say he's a very new member of our congregation who has kind of flung himself into our midst with full enthusiasm and fervor. So I invite you to take some time to listen to these beloved members, to hear what their experience of this congregation has been as we consider how we will all contribute to it in the coming year. David, please.
Good morning, everyone. I have to go off script here a little bit because that stimulated a thought there. Yes, it's a relatively very long time. I've been a member of this church longer than just about anything else I've ever done in my life. Longer than any place I've ever lived, longer than any relationships. The relationships I have here to this church has been longer. 25 years ago, I found, much to my dismay and despite my best intentions, that my life was a total mess. And in reflecting on that, I realized that I had created that chaos through my behavior. And that behavior was a direct result of the way I thought about things, how I looked at the world around me, and how I reacted to the people, places, and things in it. I began a quest to make some changes, and early in that journey, it was suggested to me that perhaps some spiritual guidance would be helpful. I bristled at that thought. I had had a taste of traditional religion as a youth, and even then I couldn't buy into any of that. It made no sense to me. Left such a bad taste that I actually spent some time studying various incarnations of religion, not to improve myself by their teachings, but more so that I could point out the ambiguities and the contradictions in each one of these traditions every chance I had the opportunity. So when this suggestion was made to me, I began my speech. Now, I didn't get very far into it when they said, okay, I get it, but what do you believe? Well, then it occurred to me that I hadn't really given that too much thought. I mean, I believed that there was some kind of a connection between each of us, but what that was or why it might be helpful to know a bit about it, I had to admit I hadn't explored that very deeply. And at the same time, I had to concede that what I had been doing wasn't producing the desired results. So, okay, I'll look into it. My friends suggested a couple of places that I might find some friendly assistance, and this congregation was one of those potential sources. And what I found here was a small group of people emerging from a rather tumultuous period in the church's history and entering a rebuilding phase of the congregation. I was welcomed by some of the friendliest people I have ever known in my life. Chris and Sylvia, Virginia and Bob, Tanya, Margot, Sandra, Daryl and Audrey, many, many more. They were a very diverse group of people in many ways, but you know, we all felt like we were connected, like family. First 2 years I attended here, we would lunch together after the service once a month downstairs in the social hall until the congregation got big enough to where we couldn't all fit. But most importantly, they refused to give up and they began to rebuild. This diversity was also present in spiritual beliefs and practices. We had an earth-centered group, we had a Christian group, we read from all of the spiritual writings. There was a book study group covering everything from chakras to conversations with God. There was a poetry group. For several years at the spring equinox, we would clear the sanctuary after the Sunday service and lay out a labyrinth on the floor here in the sanctuary, which was advertised and open for the general public to come in and use for meditation. The library was available for anyone to borrow books covering various traditions and practices. You see, all of the information was here at the church, but no one told me what to believe or how to practice that. Instead, they provided the resources and let me choose what made sense to me. And all they asked in return was to practice responsibly and respectfully. I watched this congregation grow and thrive, and the whole time this was happening, there was always opportunities for community service, helping others who were struggling, getting enough to eat, finding housing and medical services, equal opportunities for those on the fringes of so-called society, civil rights issues, and equality and fairness in the legal system, ways to help others. And with the help of this congregation, I was able not just to define my own spirituality, but how to practice it as well. You see, that's what had been lacking in my past, living my beliefs and practicing the principles thereof. Within just a few short years of joining this congregation, I was blessed with my son Harrison coming to live with me. He was able to go through the religious exploration program here, a program for youth that guides them in the same manner, inspiring creative, open-minded thinking, building respectful friendships that can last forever, looking for solutions instead of complaining about the complexities of society, thinking and behavior based on facts and science, but remembering that there is still something greater than all of us individuals put together. I came here 25 years ago looking for a little guidance, and I found so much more than that. I found a happiness that I had only seen glimpses of on rare occasions. I'm at peace with myself, the world I live in, and the people around me. Well, most of them anyway. The pandemic hit us pretty hard. I think personally that society in general took a couple of steps backwards. Our membership numbers dropped substantially, and with that, our finances have suffered. But I see us in a similar situation of that 25 years ago. We are coming back to life, recreating and building on what survived. We've joined the Safe Parking Network a couple of years ago. We have study groups meeting again, social gatherings, and just recently, the RE has reopened. I see great things ahead. I support this church because this congregation helped me find a way to become a better person. I want any and every person who comes through those doors to have the same opportunity that Harrison and I had. The chance to learn and grow at the very core of who we are, to help others who, for whatever reason, are struggling, to become better individuals working together to become a better society, better for everyone. Thank you, and blessed be.
Yeah, I have to get my brave on. Okay. I was asked to talk to the congregation today about why I'm choosing to pledge to TUC from a parent perspective as a mom with kids. So I have 4 kids, ages 18, 15, 13, and 9. And they're the reason I sought this congregation out in the first place as a place of community for them. We've been coming here. Do I need to move in? We've been coming here for several years, and they've all been part of the RE program. My eldest son, when he was in middle school, we were probably pretty new to the congregation, and there was something being offered called OWL our whole lives. I had no idea what OWL was, but the mom said, you have to do this for your kid. You need to do it. And so we did. For those unfamiliar, it's a human growth and sexuality curriculum. And middle school especially is really intense and all-encompassing. And so my son completed that program, and to this day, I'm thankful that he has. There are times when I'm out in the world and I hear something on the radio or in the news, and I think, oh my gosh, does he know that? And I will say, do you heard about this? And he's like, well, I talked about it in OWL. Or, oh, what about this in OWL? And so I feel like as he's getting ready to go to the world, that's a box that I can check, that it's been done well and thorough and in line with my values. I am so hopeful that his siblings will also have the same opportunity, go through OWL. And there's plans, keep our fingers crossed, to have one started this fall. So I'm very hopeful for that. A few years ago, I was reading the newsletter, and there was a sandwich making group, always looking for a reason to engage my kids, something to engage my kids. I thought kids can make sandwiches. So we showed up, and we continued to show up once a month for a year and a half till COVID hit. And it was a place where they could show up. It was a community within the community. It was partnered with a local Kiwanis group, and my kids walked in and they were known by name. And are you going to spread the mustard today? Or, how are you? And it was a little bit of community. It gave them a little bit of purpose and of being part of something bigger. A few times we went down to the rescue mission and we handed the food out, the sandwiches out. And if you haven't, and no familiarity with that, the unhoused walk, anyone can come and they'll walk in a line and it's seemingly an endless line. Would you like turkey or ham or whatever? And my kids looked at the homeless folks in their eyes, and sometimes they're not pretty. Sometimes they don't smell good, and sometimes they're scary. And my kids witnessed that, and it opened a conversation that they would not have had it not been for our sandwich making here at TUC. And in addition, on our own, I sought out to be a volunteer directly with the rescue mission. And we've done that several times and will continue to do so. And I never would have thought to do that or had the courage or the foresight had it not been for my exposure through sandwich making. Similarly, a year or 2 years ago, I was reading the newsletter and there was this safe parking program at church that needed volunteer. And so I'm okay, I'll bite. And I've been going every week for a year and a half. And I've had the pleasure of working with Cindy and with Pam and now with Julia. And I met these ladies and I have got to know them a bit, and I have a bit of community inside the community that I didn't have before. On my calendar once a week, every Thursday, safe parking. And as a stay-at-home mom, sometimes with lacking some just like regular things that I have to show up for, that's one thing on my calendar that I have to show up for, and I feel important. I feel like I'm needed and I'm making a difference. And that is worthwhile to me. Every Thursday now I meet Julia and we bring our dogs and we go for a walk around Wapato Lake. And that's a bit of community and socialization that I wouldn't have had otherwise. In addition, my kids are well-versed in safe parking in the program here. They've come to me on their holidays, summer break, and helped out. We've had a few breakfasts and a dinner with the guests, and my kids have joined in. They sat down with the guests, they shared meal, and they shared conversation. They learned the guest's name. Some guests shared their stories. And this is a side of the unhoused that my kids hadn't seen before. I think a little different than the rescue mission. And it also opened a conversation for my kids and I at home. Sorry, there's so many things that the congregation has done, I think, for my family and I. My kids have great memories of egg dyeing, haunted hallway, of family potluck and potluck and game night, Christmas Eve vigil that Reverend Linda brought back. These all have been meaningful for me and my family. I started coming here for my kids, and I think now more than ever, as they get older, I need to keep coming here for my kids. As I have a high schooler and a middle schooler, the world is so hard. And their schools, honestly, they're good schools, but they're hard and the people aren't always nice. And that's their everyday experience. And so being able to bring them to a community once a week where they're loved, they're accepted, and they can see that there's this whole community of people in the world who are like-minded, and their everyday is just a snapshot of what's available, is invaluable to me. And so I will continue to go here and I will continue to do my part. When I think of donating, I'm a little deer in headlights. What do I have to give? It might not be a lot. It might not be enough. What's it going to do for the church? Who am I to stand up here today and talk to you guys? Who am I to teach RE? I wasn't brought up Unitarian. And then I think of safe parking, my experience, and how picking up the trash in the parking lot and wiping a porta pot seat isn't going to solve the housing crisis, but it is part of the solution. It's part of being part of a whole, everybody doing just a small bit that they can, however small that is, but doing it. It seems like we're coming back from COVID, and I am so excited and hopeful of the things to come. I'm grateful for everybody in this community, and that's why I'm choosing to donate. And I have to get back to Ari.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Doug Booth. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm a man in his 60s with brown hair quickly turning gray. Today I'm wearing a white shirt with a light print on it and a blue checkered bow tie. Yes, I do tie my own. Wanted to tell you a little about my journey to this congregation. My husband and I arrived here in October of last year. We'd spent 2 years in Rockville, Maryland. You've heard a little about that. And as we're here, we're putting down roots. That's important to me, the idea of putting down roots. In my life, at about age 12, I chose, my middle brother and I, we chose our own faith. We chose to be Jehovah's Witnesses. I know, you've heard all the jokes. They're all really good, from Johnny Carson to South Park and everything in between. One of my favorite ones is, so who is it who's going to survive the big California earthquake? Jehovah's Witnesses, because they're always standing in somebody's doorway. Yep, but for me, growing up in a pretty crazy dysfunctional family, I found safety in a spiritual community. I found purpose. I learned spiritual principles. I realized that amazing things could be done if we just worked together. If you've never seen a Kingdom Hall built in just 2 days, you have something to see. I learned how to understand people knocking on their doors with a Bible in hand and ready to talk with somebody on any subject, to relate to people, meet them where they're at. And I learned compassion. I developed a heart of service there. This was a good place for me. I remember very well in Eugene, Oregon, knocking on the door of a woman who was a Unitarian Universalist. Didn't find too many of those. And I called back on her regularly, and I remember distinctly thinking how lost she was and not having any firm beliefs. I remember that. But all my life, since probably age 9, I struggled with being gay and living in a conservative religion that would never accept it. And I felt self-loathing. And it was not through some brave act of courage that I came to leave that faith, but rather a perfect storm in my life and many bad decisions. And I was expelled from the faith in 2014. I was paralyzed with fear. I was terrified and had no idea how I was going to move forward with my life. I chose to come out openly and honestly as a gay man in 2015, in my 50s, better late than never. But I really felt like a man without a country. I had lost so much. I lost decades of deep friendships. I lost family. I lost my whole community of support, a 30-year marriage. Really didn't know what I believed anymore, and I spent 3.5 years feeling spiritually lost. Then I read an article written by a colleague who is a UU intern minister, and it intrigued me. I shared this with my husband, who was raised Catholic. Being Catholic and gay did not go so great either. And I had begun letting go of feeling like I had the truth, capital T, that I had all the answers. I let go of that. In 2018, my husband and I attended the water ceremony in Corvallis, Oregon, with Reverend Dr. Jill McAllister, and I just cried. the beauty, the symbolism, the connection. I cried for months at the services after that. And you'll probably see me here too. I cry a lot. And it's great because I was home. What I found and how I knew I belonged was that I could finally in my life be my whole and true self and be accepted without judgment. I could be safe and held in love. I no longer had an agenda when I go up and talk with newcomers. But it was so wonderful to be able to share my story and hear what brought them here. What were they looking for? I found a beautiful, diverse community with open hearts and curious minds, intentional growth, learning and unlearning how I needed that. And I found a spiritual place, a space where I was safe. My husband and I were married there in February of 2020. And how I wish I could go back and find that woman who was Unitarian Universalist in Eugene and knock on her door again and tell her this time how, in fact, I was the one who was lost. And I had finally found my home. As we enter a time of recreation here, I want to do my part in making this congregation a healthy, stable, and welcoming spiritual space for all. I hope you'll join me in financial support and giving of ourselves.
Wow. Thanks to Doug and to David and to Stacy downstairs. I'll pass that gratitude along to her. I would invite us now to just pause for a moment. And if there's been something that you've heard this morning that has touched you, I would invite you to set an intention for how you might carry that out into the world today. So may it be. Amen. We're going to carry on with our theme of community this morning, and let's sing together, Lean on Me. Again, it's in our teal hymnal, but you can just watch the words on the screen, I think. Yes, you can watch the words. Please be seated. Our time in this place may have ended, but our connection to each other and to this community remains. Together, may we walk the path of justice, speak words of love, live the selfless deed, trod gently upon the earth, and fill the world with compassion. Until we meet again, may it be so. Amen and blessed be. Do it all from here. Yeah. Let's say the extinguishing words, please. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. That morning. There. Let's join in singing our closing blessing song in the congregation. Rise, we make silly hand movement. Sheila is going to lead us.
From you I give, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this